All right, Jody, this has flown by. I could talk to you for hours. I'm not just
Let's
saying
do
that.
it.
Exactly. We're going to do it. Jody doesn't know this, but next time I'm in New York City, I'll be like, Jody,
Yeah, oh,
you
absolutely.
said it.
Just shout off
We
the
could
rooftop
chat.
and I'll just appear.
I'll put up the bat signal.
Yeah.
I want to close out this conversation, which has been so joyful,
Hmm.
with a couple of things, couple like
Hmm.
easy but fun questions, but
Hmm.
one a little more serious one, which is that when people go on a journey, someone
Mm.
like me who's a perfectionist in recovery,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
an overachiever in recovery, when
Same.
I hear glow up and I hear these quadrants, I'm making like a 60-point spreadsheet
Yep.
and
Yep.
I'm trying to do 50 things a day, and that can get in the way of
Hmm.
actually what I believe to be the intention of the
Hmm.
glow up.
Hmm.
So I want to know really kind of simply, how do you avoid that self-improvement trap of never actually
Mm.
just being and enjoying life? How does the glow up, how can you balance that, and how can the glow up lead you to joy instead of getting stuck in
Hmm.
those types of traps?
Yeah, great question. And I think I was very lucky because I did this process in the pandemic when truly there was nothing else to do. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, what else am I going to do but self-improve? And it happened so, like I'm able to reflect on the past 3 or 4 years retrospectively as a glow up, but during the time, I just was doing it. And the first thing I'll say is I had a lot of help, like outsource a lot. I think as Black women, as women of color, I think the one, like, give yourself permission to get help with things. So I had a therapist, I had a life
Yes.
coach, I had a personal trainer, I had like someone help. Like I outsource everything to people. So a lot of this glow up one was not done on my own. It was done in partnership with support, with professionals, with experts. It wasn't all done at the same time, but like my therapist was talking to one of my coaches, and their entire job was to support me. So if I could say one thing, if you can't, and it doesn't have to be expensive, one of my career coaches, I believe, was my colleague at work, and she was trying to get her coaching certificate. So she was like, "Hey, I'll do this for you for free. I just need to get hours." So it doesn't have to be this expensive endeavor. But I think the reason why I didn't get burned out was, one, I was doing it retrospectively in like over the course of 3 years, and then I could frame it as a glow up. But I was just sort of improving in little ways. And I had outsourced so much of it to other people whose entire mission, who were experts and whose entire mission was to support me in the process. So if you can, I cannot underscore it enough. Please, if that means that you need to hire folks to help supporting around family care, if that means supporting with your job, whatever that looks like, get help if that is available and a resource for you. I would say the second part around pacing the glow up. I had a thought, and the thought is here, but the thought is escaping me. Pacing the glow up. I would say frame it from a way of exploration. I think that was honestly where a lot of this came from. Was I wasn't like, I need to be a better person. Part of it, I think, a lot of the glow ups, frankly, is an impetus for something happening, and you want to feel better about that thing, whether you get laid off from a job and now you have the capacity to think about what you really want your career to look like, but some sort of misalignment and then kind of getting back into alignment or wanting something to be better. And that's not inherently bad, but I framed it from a place of exploration. I framed it from a place of play. Like I was like, I remember one day I signed up for Spanish lessons and I was like, let's just see. And I bought a piano and I bought a keyboard because I was like, I just want to see if I like this. And I started listening to podcasts. It's like, let's just see what I didn't like, what didn't serve me, and that's where knowing your alignment happens, is really critical. I would just let it go. I would just say, you know what, I tried it, it's not a fit for me. Um, but I just like almost view it as like trying different things on and see there is no prescriptive or right way for this to look. Take it quadrant by quadrant. Take it like that's where doing the wellness wheel was also really helpful for me, so I could understand where the areas of focus that maybe I needed a little bit more support or care or attention on. And then once I understood, like, oh, I think I need a little bit more support in my career right now. I'm not feeling fulfilled, or I need a little bit more support in social interactions. I'm not feeling great there. Try different things on. And that process, it was so joyful for me because I was just learning myself and I was just like getting to try things and I was getting to explore and just like play and dance. And I just was having fun with it. It wasn't coming from a place of, I don't like myself, I need to be better. Thankfully, a lot of that was worked out in therapy. Now it was just like, all right, I don't really, it's a blank slate. I don't really know who I am, but I'm going to try this thing on and that thing on and go from there. And that is how you keep it fun and light, where it's viewed as like an investment in self, an opportunity to explore self, an opportunity to pay homage to yourself versus like coming from a place of dislike or disdain. It was really just like, I love taking care of myself and this is fun for me. And that was really how I framed it.
Y'all hearing that? Remember, the glow up journey should be joyful.
Hmm.
It should be joyful. It doesn't mean it'll be easy. Certain places you may need to
Yeah.
deal with some tough stuff, money
Yep.
blocks or,
Yep.
uneven friendships or whatever that is. But overall, the attitude toward that
Hmm.
is one of joy. So,
Hmm.
all my perfectionists who are like ready with their spreadsheet, ready to go, remember
Yeah.
the joy.
Yeah.
And to that end, Jodie, what brings you joy?
Such a great question. Um, Honestly, I am loving just like this season of like, I don't really care. And honestly, that brings me a lot of joy. So even
Yes.
when I was preparing for this interview, I brought another shirt because I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I honor this, I care, but right now I feel really comfortable in the sweatshirt and like owning that space. Or there are a lot of Friday nights where I'm just wrapped up on the couch watching Real Housewives. And like, I remember a year ago, I would be like, oh, I can't tell anyone I watch these kind of TV shows. Or a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I would have been like, oh, on Friday nights, I'm still working. I love the season of radical acceptance of just like showing up as I am. And that's like what's bringing me a lot of joy right now. Is like I don't need to be. I've removed shoulds and needs to, and I want to on Friday nights like watch Real Housewives and kiki with my friends and not be productive. When I was laid off, I was laid off probably in its entirety for like 5 months, 5 or 6 months, and the first month I slept. I literally slept
Yes.
every single day for hours. Like I would take a nap, a multi-hour nap during the day. I would sleep 8 hours at night, wake up, watch Real Housewives of Miami and Potomac. Then I would go to Pilates. Then maybe I would like cook myself a nice meal, and that would be my day for an entire month. Honestly, probably more. I was so happy. I was so happy. So honestly, in this season right now, it's like the rest. It's the radical and also not feeling guilty for resting, just like feeling really happy about how I'm showing up in that moment and not being apologetic about how I'm showing up either.
I love that, and that is important. I think that needs to be I want more women saying that. I wanna hear more successful women say that
Mhm.
because that's something that I had a similar journey to where now
Mhm.
I'm like, can't people
Yeah.
know me. They said, Kelly's where's Kelly? On her couch
Yeah.
and loving every minute. Me and
Love
my
it.
couch have the best relationship.
Love it.
But part of that was coming to that place of
Mhm.
holding, I'm successful, but rest is a
Yeah.
key component of my
Mhm.
joy, and I need
Exactly.
to accept that
Yep.
and be okay with that.
Mhm.
And my follow-up question for you, which is
Mhm.
then, how do you protect it? How do you protect your joy, the things that
Mm.
bring you joy? What do you do to protect it?
Yeah, I don't allow this like sentiments of shame or embarrassment to like kind of creep in when I think oftentimes we view, to your point, like rest and self-care. And I always say I'm my favorite hobby. Like I love
Ye-
doing things for me.
Yes.
I'm obsessed. Like me comes first and everything else is like very secondary, tertiary to me. And so, I'm unabashed in that. I don't allow to be shamed for that. I don't allow to be like truly, I'm in the office right now, but I took off 2 hours today and I got a facial because I'm like, this is it. And so it's really easy to have all of these conflicting ideals. And I think to your point, being successful often comes with this very specific archetype. But I have thankfully worked for a lot of people who have allowed me to disabuse myself of the sentiment that being successful only comes in one particular archetype in one particular way, and that looks like struggle and stress.
Mm.
Um, and I was interestingly listening to this podcast yesterday around how people have sort of cultivated this concept. It was the podcast is centered around how people display status in particularly in Western societies, and the concept of busyness
Oh,
um,
yes.
is how people display high status. So it's, "Oh, I'm so busy," and, like, how you relate to other people is, like, who's busier or who's um, and I've completely and I have bought into that at one point. That means that a lot of people want your time is high regarded, so many people are interested in spending time with you, and I've disabused myself from that. I don't like being busy. I don't like being stretched. I don't like being burnt out. I enjoy prioritizing myself and self-care, and so being able to just deprogram myself. Like I no longer look at that as a status marker of how important or successful I am, is like by the how burnt out and how busy I am. Like those two things are actually contrarian to me now. I look at success as having free time and being able to focus on what makes me happy. So really just being able to protect the notion that my success and that my happiness is really directly correlated to how well I'm taking care of myself and how much I'm able to pour into myself, and keeping that as like the gold standard and the gold star, not keeping busyness and burnout and making X amount of dollars as a gold standard for me.
I love that. And it's accurate. And when you have been around people who are very important and have hit
Hmm.
pinnacles of success, you realize that that's true too.
Yeah.
That they actually,
Yeah.
they'll tell you what their day is and they're busy,
Mm.
but they have found they're not interested in proving to you to take a
Right.
meeting or to do a thing. So
Yep.
I think that plays out very, very true. And I think
Hmm.
that's just a myth that we buy into to keep
I
us
agree.
from not getting to where we need to be. So I love that it's for you, protecting your joy is
Hmm.
about deprogramming those kinds of myths around busyness and what success looks like, which I
Hmm.
think is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Jodie, this has been amazing.
I
Where can
know.
we, it's been so fun. Where can we connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my TikTok is probably the largest platform that I have. It's Jodie, Jodie, K as in Kimberly, and then Tay, Tay. That's where most people connect with me. I just started a YouTube that is on the same moniker, so Jodie K Tay, and then also Instagram, which is my college username, which dates me, but it's JKT. 823 is my college username, and also my Instagram handle.
Awesome. So we'll have all of that in the show notes. In the
Amazing.
meantime, love this conversation. It's so needed. I know people are going to resonate with it. And I'm just so appreciative there are people like you in this space helping us get to alignment and to
Mhm.
crack that code of authenticity. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is amazing. And you dropped so many. I'm honestly learning so much from you in this conversation as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate Mutual Admiration Society. We
Yes.
love to see it. We love to see it. Thank you
Amazing.
so much, Jodie. It's been a pleasure.
Amazing. Have a good one.